What is quacking, everybody? So I've been Big Swig pilled. Since the new update came out, Big Swig got a new kit, and I was gravitating towards it a little bit. I was like, I'm gonna try it. And my third eye has been opened to Big Swig. Originally, I used to think Big Swig was garbage, it was trash, it was just a useless weapon, its two other kits were just bad, and I thought this new one is probably going to be a little bit better, but just bad. But, like I said, my third eye has been opened. I understand the Big Swig. I've seen the vision. And I'm here to tell you that everyone's playing Big Swig wrong. Everyone is absolutely playing Big Swig wrong. How you think of Big Swig is not how you play Big Swig. Because when people think of rollers in this game, they think, oh, your horizontal flick is supposed to kill, or with Carbon's case, you're going to combo with Burst Bomb and kill, or you're just going to slap them really fast and kill them. Big Swig is different. You are vertical flicking with this weapon. That is what you are doing with this weapon. You are throwing out vertical flicks non-stop, and that gives you a lot of range. And that's where all of your kill power is going to come from, getting those vertical flicks. You can vertical flick and one-shot people if they're even chipped to any type of degree and you hit them with a vertical flick from a decent range, they're gonna die. Vertical flicking is how you were supposed to be playing Big Swig and tossing those things around. With vertical flicking, it gives you a lot of range against short range slayers and gives you a lot of range on hitting people on ledges and all these different things that you can use with vertical flicking. It is such a huge way to play this weapon. And if you are not vertical flicking and you're horizontal flicking, well, you're going to get your special very fast. This thing gets triple splashdown in like 3 to 4 horizontal swings. I'm out there getting triple splashdown, and then I'm sitting there vertical flicking people, approaching people, throwing torpedo, going in, getting in there, and then I'll triple splashdown if they try to rush me, or, you know, I triple splashdown for objectives. There's so many different utilizations that you can use with the new Big Swig, and this does also apply to Big Swig Express, where you paint up for rain, and you can utilize rain where you're getting the chip damage that you need to get that confirmed kill with your vertical flicks, and just, you know, oh, they're chip with rain, vertical flick. You can combo with marker and just sit there and just vertical flick and get kills with Big Swig Express. Vanilla Big Swig, that's still garbage. I ain't defending that one. That's still garbage. You can maybe use wall and do wall shenanigans, but it's got VAC. It's garbage. I'm not defending Vanilla Big Swig. If you love Vanilla Big Swig, you do you. You sit in your corner. I'm going to help you at least play your weapon a little bit better in this video. So with that in mind, with Big Swig actually having kill power, and it does have kill power. I've gotten many of quads, triples. This weapon can be a menace because one of its upsides is it paints a lot. So when you're in a fight and you're trying to wall off opponents and they're moving around, if you're just painting around yourself, you got tons of paint to move around in and approach or back up. You got plenty of options, and especially with the newer kit as well, where you're comboing with your torpedo. You got torpedo to be on the offensive along with vertical flicks to hit them at a lot of range, and you're just going to be very oppressive and annoying. And because it's Big Swig currently right now, and I think probably for the foreseeable future, a lot of people underestimate Big Swig. I don't expect this to get a lot of views, so I don't think people are going to be like, oh, that's what Big Swig is going to do. Big Swig is like that low tier character in Smash Brothers, or just like one of those weapons that you're just like, they ain't gonna do anything, but then they catch you by surprise. And that's one of the big upsides to Big Swig, is it just catches people by surprise with how much it can actually kill. I have people approach me and they get one bang. I have people who try to fight me and they just die. And that's the beauty of Big Swig, utilizing its vertical flicks with the torpedo or marker, comboing it with your rain or splashdown, or with Vanilla Big Swig, using wall to kind of keep yourself in an area and be very annoying and have consistent paint and protection. There's a lot you can do with Big Swig that is now opened up. After me playing it for a little bit, I'm just like, oh, I get it now. I understand what you're supposed to do with this. Vertical flick into utilizing your whole kit and do it that way. Now, there are some drawbacks when playing this weapon, unfortunately, because it is still Big Swig. One of the biggest issues I've run into is while yes, you have a lot of range and you can one tap people if they get too close with your verticals, and even one tap them when they're about like halfway with your verticals, you can get some pretty consistent one bangs with it with verticals. If a brush or other roller that isn't a carbon gets close to you, you will die. I say carbon very loosely because I've had to play a bunch of carbons and they just weren't able to kill me, and they were doing their horizontal flicks because they were bad and trying to kill me. So your mileage will vary when going up against carbons in some fights because you also outrange them as well. So you can kind of have a lot against a carbon. But other rollers and brushes and even dualies, I would say, if anything like that gets too close to you, for you to be able to one tap them, you're gonna die. You're not, if a brush jump scares you when you're sharking, you're dead. You're not gonna get that vertical flick. It takes way too long. Your best bet is to horizontal to like push them away and try and get away from everything and just kind of get some chip damage on them, and maybe you can get a trade. But other than that, having someone very close to you is not what you want as the big swig. There are scenarios where, yeah, you want them close so you get the consistent vertical one tap and you just kill them with one shot. But you're not going to have that consistency when you get jump scared by a brush compared to like a blaster. If a brush jump scares you as a blaster, you can probably just one tap them and they're dead. But with big swig, trying to get that one tap, you're not going to get it, unfortunately. And another downside is you have to play this weapon so good. Like, you have to play out of your mind. You have to have aim. You have to be able to hit your vertical flicks. You can't just be like, well, I'm a vertical flick everywhere. No, that's not how this is going to work. You have to hit your vertical flicks. There have been plenty of interactions where I don't hit my vertical flicks and it's just garbage. And I think that's why some people are just like, oh, big swig's garbage. This is a roller that demands you play good. It demands you have aim. Other rollers, oh, I just horizontal and they just die and I move on with my life. That's easy mode. That's some baby stuff right there. We're out here playing the big boy leagues now, and you best hit your vertical flicks. You best actually hit your shots because that's what big swig demands from you. Another issue that I ran into big swig is things that do outrange you obviously are going to be a big issue, but for me it was more blasters, specifically long range blasters like range blaster and the long rapids. Those were kind of an issue because they can match your range, and because at max range you have to get at least 2 vertical flicks to kill, it's a very hard fight. I would like to preface that even though the big swig as a main weapon does have its downsides, its full kits do have the upsides to counteract these things. Like if you're going up against a bunch of brushes and rollers and things that want to get close to you, you do have triple splashdown with the new kit. And then with vanilla, you have vac. So if you have to keep fighting consistent long range or even mid lines for that matter, you can vac those. But I feel like big swig can match up to midlines fairly well, like especially Dread and even the new Pro and stuff like that. Those weapons I feel like big swig matches up fine against. Like I said, as long as you're hitting your vertical flicks and applying the pressure and utilizing your kit, you should be getting these kills and you can actually play the game instead of just like, oh well, this weapon doesn't kill. No, it kills, and it kills very well. And of course, there's obviously maps and modes that this weapon kind of struggles on, specifically the maps that kind of, you know, are just a little bit too open. I like to shark with big swig, but big swig does thrive on a lot of modes. I've found some issues on stuff like Sturgeon for some reason. I don't know why, but big swig feels very clunky on Sturgeon, if that makes sense. I just really didn't find too much success with big swig on Sturgeon. It could be a skill issue on my end, but maps like Urchin, playing on Urchin with big swig is absolutely insane. And like I said, this weapon has range and distance and lots of paint. So if you're playing something like zones, you're going to be painting that zone, and you can keep people at bay with the zones and utilizing the kits and just getting in there and consistently pushing back on people. And instead we're, again, the stereotypical roller identity, especially just, you know, vanilla roller is, oh, I go in, shark, kill, or, you know, with Dynamo, it's like I cover this big area and you're gonna die. No, big swig is a very fast agile, vertical flicking machine that you're just gonna, run around, flick things, and just, you gotta play out of your mind. It's kind of like a glass cannon in a sense, where it's just like you gotta play really perfectly, hit your verticals, utilize your kit. And this weapon does take a lot of brain power to use, but it is very rewarding when you understand what you're doing with the weapon and applying all of the things that I'm talking about in this video to the weapon. Now, there's a couple builds that you can utilize with Big Swig. The one that I'm currently using is for my headgear. I have 1.1 of special power up to give a little bit more boost to triple splashdown. I have ink recovery, and I have sub defense, and then I have swim speed, 1.1 of swim speed, and 2 ink saver mains, which helps for using torpedoes to combo with, and then I have stealth jump with 2 super jumps and ink resistance. So this is kind of like the bread and butter kit that I use. So I prioritize triple splashdown to make sure that when I'm chipping away at people, and especially slayers, and I've gotten some chip damage on them, and they try to escape me when I splash down or something, I have that little extra range to kind of hit them. Or I triple splash down when they get close to me, like if they're initiating the fight, I triple splash down, and if I get some chip damage, then I'm, guaranteed to, always kill with a vertical flick at whatever range that I'm at. So I have that with this special power up. And then also for zones, this weapon is very solid on zones. I also, you can use it on tower, you can use it to pop Rainmaker. I'm not really a fan of this weapon on clams for the most part. It does a lot for clams just as a weapon, but I would rather just kind of play other weapons for clams, honestly. Something that doesn't require me to play so perfect in a very fast-paced, volatile game mode, but something like Rainmaker, Tower, and zones, I think that's where Big Swig can thrive the most. I would rather just something more consistent in clams. If you want to go on a killing spree, I did make a QR build where it's 1.1 of ink saver main, 2 subs of special power up, and then I have 1.2 of QR with sub resistance, stealth jump, quick super jump, and ink resistance as well. So if you're just being very aggressive, which honestly I'm kind of very aggressive, and I'm probably going to try using more QR in the future, I just prefer the first build that I showed. But you can utilize either of these builds and just kind of be a menace to society with Big Swig. So those are my thoughts on Big Swig. I've been very Big Swig pilled. I don't think Big Swig is as bad as people think, especially the new kit that just came out. I think there's a lot with the new kit. I will say, like I've said, this weapon is very demanding. You have to play very well, but it is very rewarding if you're getting your vertical flicks. And this thing has a lot of range, so you can just kind of utilize the range, the paint. It does a lot. It really has a lot of good utility in the paint and range department, and kill power as well. So if people do try to disrespect you, you can kill them. I will say Big Swig, I think Big Swig is probably one of the easiest niche weapons to fit on a comp because it just has a lot of paint and range and it can do a lot. But I implore you to try Big Swig if you've been a Big Swig hater like I have been. I just felt very rewarded for learning and understanding this weapon and kind of just really getting the hang of it and utilizing it in the way that I feel like it needs to be utilized with the verticals, and kind of thinking outside of the box and using it in that type of way. So with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you made it this far, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.